Welcome to 100 Days of Trailhead, where the tech community comes to learn Salesforce, learn tech, get inspired, and invest in ourselves. We are your trail guides, here to support you on your learning journey. We release videos weekly. Hit the subscribe button so you don't miss a video. In the description below, you can find links for everything we mention in this video, as well as books and resources we found useful. Visit our blog, 100daysoftrailhead.com, for other helpful Salesforce and tech content. Would you like to stand out in your field? In this video, Eric Dreshfield discusses the value of having a personal brand and how it can advance your career. Eric is a Salesforce MVP, the Strategic Partner Marketing Manager at ActiveCampaign, and has been in the Salesforce ecosystem since 2009. In 2010, he started the Evansville, Indiana user group. In 2011, he organized the very first Midwest Dreaming, where 100 Salesforce enthusiasts descended upon Louisville for a full day of Salesforce community learning. Midwest Dreamin' is an annual event in Chicago from 2014 to 2019 with upwards of 850 people attending. Eric is known as the Kevin Bacon of the Salesforce ecosystem. Your quest, should you choose to take it, is to journey with us to learn about creating a personal brand. Your quest begins now.
Hey everybody, this is Eric Dreshfield, and today we're going to talk about personal branding and why personal branding knows no boundaries. First, a little bit about me. Like I said, I'm Eric Dreshfield. I'm the Strategic Partner Marketing Manager at ActiveCampaign. I am a Salesforce MVP, now in the Hall of Fame, was an active MVP from 2013 through 2020. I am the founder of Midwest Dreamin', and I lead the Evansville, Indiana Salesforce Community Group and organize a breakfast every year at Dreamforce called the Newbie Reunion Breakfast, or some people call it the Bacon Breakfast. And it's always been a benefit to raise money for Project Night Night. And some people know me as the Kevin Bacon of the Salesforce ecosystem. So what are we going to talk about today? We're going to go through a brief journey with me, and we'll show you my career journey really quick. Then we'll talk about what a personal brand is and how you can go about starting one, and then what you need to do to build a personal brand so you end up with a strong one. And finally, what outcomes and results you can expect from having a strong personal brand. So a little bit about my winding journey. I didn't start out in Salesforce like most of us. I stumbled into it. Way back out of college, I actually went to college, or going back into college, I went to college way back in the dark ages and ended up with a degree in economics of all things. It was kind of that class that I enjoyed more than anything. I didn't know what I was going to do with my life back then, and just kind of took career paths that weren't really a path. It was just a bunch of stepping stones from job to job. I worked for an airline for a while after working for the university when I graduated. Worked at Walmart corporate headquarters. I worked for an internet service provider for a while. And then, as you can see down in the lower left corner, the green dots get really dark and kind of almost fall off the page. I made a mistake, I guess you could say. I told the president of the company once that his expectations were unrealistic, and something he wanted done in 3 weeks was going to take 3 months. He didn't like that, and 6 weeks later I was out of a job. It took me a while to find a job. That dark period in my career, as I jokingly call it, was about 2.5 years of me doing whatever I could to put food on the table and keep the roof over our house and things like that. But where I landed after all of that was in the Salesforce ecosystem. I stumbled into a position at Mitchell International as a call center agent. It was supposed to be just a temporary 8-week assignment while they rolled out one new software product. But that 8 weeks turned into 8 months, where I ended up learning all the products that they had to offer and supporting all their customers. And after those 8 months, I got this phone call from their HR department that said, "Hey, we've got a permanent position with the company. It's doing exactly what you're doing today. There's more money, there's benefits because you'd be an employee and not a temporary employee. Are you interested?" It's like, of course I'm interested. I really want a full-time job. Benefits would be great. And they said, fantastic, we'll set you up for an interview with the vice president who's over the call center and a bunch of other things at this organization. So I get on the phone with her. She's in their San Diego office. I'm in the Evansville, Indiana satellite office where the call center was. And she says, Eric, I've got just one question for you because I've reviewed your scores in the call center and I've looked at your resume and your previous work history. And she says, I really just want to know, why are we wasting your time and ours having you support our customers when there's so many other things you can do to help this company move forward? And I was at a loss for words. I said the only thing that came to my mind, which was, well, the call center agent role is the only thing you have available right now. And her response to me was, you're right, but give me 3 weeks. I'm working on approval for a business analyst role to help us launch Salesforce to the call center that you're working in right now, and I think you're perfect for that job. And once again, I sat back there for just a quick second and took a breath and reacted and said the thing that came to my mind, which was, what's Salesforce? I've never heard of it. At which point, Pauline, my supervisor in that role, said, don't worry about it. You'll understand that you have the skills I need, and I think you're perfect for the job. And that was my introduction to Salesforce. It was at the right place at the right time, and somebody took a chance on me. The next thing she told me when I got actually on that job just a couple days later was, or well, a couple weeks later, was I can't afford to send you to training, so you need to learn as much about Salesforce as you can organically. So I suggest you find a local user group in your area and meet people that are already using Salesforce. Well, there wasn't one. The map on the screen, the red dot is where I live, Evansville, Indiana. All the blue dots on the screen are cities where I went to find community groups for Salesforce because they existed in those cities back then. This was 2009, 2010. And so I spent a day or a day and a half a month driving to cities like Indianapolis or Chicago or St. Louis to go to Salesforce community group meetings to meet people and start learning everything I could about Salesforce. The whole time while I was trying to launch the Service Cloud at this company and then build out reports and dashboards for Service Cloud managers to understand what was going on with the contact center. That led me to launch the Southern Indiana Salesforce user group, now called the Evansville, Indiana Salesforce Community Group. In 2010, in 2011, I started Midwest Dreamin' because I could not attend Dreamforce in 2010. It was another one of those, sorry, Eric, we don't have the budget for it kind of things. Then from there, I moved forward into a few different roles within the ecosystem, different companies, slightly different roles. Became a Salesforce MVP, like I said, in 2013, and started working on the partner side of the Salesforce ecosystem in 2016 when I took a job with Aptus. On that was a marketing role with them. And since Aptus, I have been at IT Quality for a little while, and now I'm at ActiveCampaign in a marketing role again, helping them hopefully grow their presence in the Salesforce ecosystem, find new customers, and all that kind of good stuff. So let's talk about what a brand really is. If you look it up in the dictionary, you're going to find out a brand is really a name or a term or a symbol that identifies a product or a service or a person, perhaps, as being unique and distinct from everything else. Obviously, the 3 logos I have on the screen are pretty widely recognizable brands: Coca-Cola, Apple, Salesforce. Probably everyone knows those brands no matter where they live in the world because they're worldwide phenomenons, I guess you could say. So widely recognized. From a personal branding perspective, though, it's a little different. And so these are a few what I consider widely recognized personal brands within the Salesforce ecosystem. Rad Women, which was founded by Melissa Hanson, Angela Mahoney, and Kieran Jameson, and their mission is essentially to teach women to code. I think they've extended that a little bit, and they're now including men as students as well. And they're certainly looking for mentors and coaches right now to help with their next set of classes coming up. Jen Lee has a great blog. Check her out as well. Ben McCarthy started Salesforce Ben a few years ago, and it's probably one of the biggest followed Salesforce blogs out there in the ecosystem right now. And then David Liu launched SF99 a few years ago, and his mission was to convince anyone that they can be a coder. And David also spends a lot of time sharing success stories of other people in the ecosystem who have done studying and online training and gotten certifications and improved their careers. So check them all out. They're really, really good to follow those organizations, those blogs, those individuals. So to start a personal brand, what do you need to do? That's the hard part. You have to be afraid. You have to not be afraid to put yourself out there. You gotta do something. You can't just sit back and watch the world go by and expect a personal brand to kind of build around you. Start a blog, get active on social media. Those are a couple tips that are really good. The button click admin example you see down there, that was Mike Gerholt. Long before he started at Salesforce, he was the button click admin. It was his own personal brand. He was doing blog posts, podcasts regularly, and people knew him as the button click admin. When he started working for Salesforce, the button click admin morphed into the admin's podcast that it is today. So just a couple more examples and the benefits, if you will, of what could happen with a personal brand. My second tip in building a personal brand is to deliver a consistent message. It's key to gaining trust from individuals is to be consistent and stay true to what you're passionate about. I use the example here of Steve Mollis in some of the presentations that he's done at Dreamforce and other places. He jokes around and says he is the world record holder for the number of F-bombs dropped at a Dreamforce presentation. So sometimes instead of a safe harbor statement, he uses the parental advisory statement, and that's kind of his personal brand. Tip number 3 to building your own personal brand: stay engaged. It's a two-way street. Building a brand and building trust takes work and effort. So as my wife, who was a real estate agent, once told me, you can't just list it and forget it. And she says there were lots of real estate agents in the business, some who worked for their business and worked hard to find buyers for their listings or sellers for their listings, and others simply took the listing of a new house and posted it and assumed the business was going to come to them. So from the perspective of building a personal brand, stay engaged, comment back with people who talk to you about the things you're posting. If they post something that is an idea you hadn't thought of before, comment back to them, hey, that's a fantastic idea. I never thought of it that way before. If they start an argument with you, take the high road, I would suggest. Don't start arguing back. Avoid some confrontations and just simply say things like, thanks for your input. It's an interesting way of thinking about things. So my third tip for building a personal brand: find something that you're passionate about, something that you really love doing, or a cause that you really align with, and stay true to that. For those of you who know me well, you realize I support Project Night Night pretty heavily, and I support Pep Up Tech as well. And obviously, I'm kind of a bacon fanatic, so there's a tie-in there as well. And that's actually a photo of one of the meals I ate at a Dreamforce newbie breakfast, aka the bacon breakfast. So find something you really feel strongly about and stick with it. And then my fourth and final tip to building a personal brand: mix it up. And yes, that is exactly the opposite of tip number 2, where I said stay true to your passions, deliver consistent content. Every once in a while, you got to mix it up. You got to do something slightly different, something radically different, even if you want fresh content. But make sure it's still something that fits in well with the values that you hold as an individual. What you're going to discover through something that's totally different is you're going to see new engagement, you're going to get new followers, you're going to get new and interesting conversations started, and it's going to help you learn while other people learn more about you as well. So now you've started a brand, you've worked on how to build it, you've got a personal brand. That's fantastic. I mean, if you can get there, it takes time. It's not going to happen overnight. For me, I built this personal brand of mine and didn't realize it was happening for a while until someone actually pointed it out to me that people know who I am and some of the reasons why they recognize me. And so I realized it was a personal brand, and it became important to me to then grow it and keep true to it. So what happens as a result of that? recognition. People are going to get to know you. They'll understand what you stand for, your values, the causes that you support. It could be recognition through social media, from other members of the community. It could be from your boss, your coworkers, or anyone out there really. When I was first named to Salesforce MVP, I shared that with my manager and the people at the company I was working at, primarily because the company I was at then was in a regulated industry, and anytime an individual who was working there needed to speak at an event or have their name out in public, and it mentioned the company that they worked for, it had to get cleared through the legal team at that organization. So when I was named to Salesforce MVP the first time, I sent it over to my boss and to the legal team so they could approve everything and make sure it was okay. And my boss decided, this is really cool for us to have a Salesforce MVP on our staff, and the things that he's doing out there in the community, helping other people. So he publicly recognized me at an all hands meeting at the company, and I think the company even awarded me a little bit of a cash bonus as a reward for that. A couple of the other things that you can see that you may experience once you have a strong personal brand: you may get asked to speak at events. You may get selected to speak at events if you apply, just because of who you are, perhaps. You may get people who you don't know coming up to you and asking for your advice, for your help, to help them figure out how to grow their own personal brand, how they can grow their career. Mentorship opportunities will come knocking on your door. Sometimes the downside to a strong personal brand is you get more opportunities knocking on your door than you know what to do with. And sometimes those opportunities don't really match well with who you are or what you stand for. But it's at least people are recognizing who you are, which is still a good thing. And of course, if you're looking for a new job, you can end up with new employment, new career opportunities, and potentially more income because of having a strong personal brand. That's part of my journey to how I got to where I am today in my career as well. The role I took at Aptus was an interesting role. I saw a demo of some Aptus products in 2014. Just simply kind of fell in love with what they had to offer and started envisioning all sorts of use cases for their products. And I started a conversation with the company about wanting to work for them. Their HR team, they did the usual HR stuff. Check out our website, let us know which jobs you're interested in talking to us about, and we'll start some interview processes. Well, I did that for a while. I never found anything that was really what I wanted to do, that really hit me as well as nothing that got me as excited as I got when I saw the demo of their products. And so their HR person finally said, "Okay, Eric, what do you want to do for us? Tell us why we should hire you. What's the value you can bring to our organization?" And so I explained that. I said, here's the stuff I'm good at. Here's what I'm passionate about. I like connecting people to people who have answers to their questions. I enjoy building others up and helping drive their career growth. And I pretty much told Aptus, if you can figure out a way to make that a role at your company where the company's going to see benefit from it and you can pay me a decent salary, let's talk. And a few months later, the marketing department reached out to me and we ended up in several conversations, and they created a role for me as a product evangelist to talk about the product that I was so in love with. And it was great. I loved the role. I loved the work I was doing. The company was fantastic. And as time progresses, things change. And so it came time to move to a new role. And I didn't go looking for a new job. I didn't go to Indeed.com or other company websites to look for jobs. I started conversations with people I knew and at companies that I felt were strong companies and that I trusted. So I used my network. I used the value of my personal brand to pursue career options for me. And ultimately, that's how I got to where I am today. My manager, the person who hired me into the role I'm at right now at Active Campaign, was the person who hired me at Aptus several years ago. So there's value in maintaining relationships as well. So those are the benefits of a strong personal brand. So to summarize really quickly, if you want to start a personal brand, don't be afraid to put yourself out there. do something. You don't have to write a blog if you don't think writing is your strong suit. Perhaps you enjoy speaking in front of audiences. You want to talk to community groups. You have a topic that you're really good at, something within Salesforce that you're really strong at or you're really passionate about. That's fantastic. You use that as your starting point. If once you've got to that point, great. Put things out on social media. I started on Twitter in I think 2012 as a means just to learn. I wanted to follow people who were out there who were already Salesforce MVPs or specific companies just to hear what they were talking about. And then I discovered I had something to say. I wanted a conversation with them, so I started engaging them in conversation. Which that was one of my tips. And stay engaged. It's not a one-way street. Make sure you're focusing in on the people who are talking to you and keeping them engaged.
And with that, we're at the end. If you found this video helpful, please hit the like button so we know what content is most helpful to you. What did you learn about creating a personal brand? We also want to hear about what topics you want us to cover in future videos. We would love to hear your thoughts in the comments. If you've made it to this point, we want to take an opportunity to say thank you. Since you've stayed with us, here's a bonus. I always tell people the greatest strength of the Salesforce ecosystem is the people you meet and the connections you make. Thank you for spending time with us. Please like and subscribe to our channel because we share weekly content to support your tech and Salesforce learning journey. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you don't miss a new video. We also handpick these videos which we recommend you watch next. Connect with us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and on 100daysoftrailhead.com, all of which are listed below. Thank you for learning with us, and we'll see you back tomorrow.